Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
The first place I would deal with them is we want to try to identify the problem. That's the first thing. And usually when it's a deficiency, and understand, a deficiency and a detoxification have similar symptoms. The only way to really tell which one they truly are is through the blood work. And if you have a detoxification, that means you need to slow down and do less and let your body get rid of what it needs to. But if it's truly a deficiency, what you need to do is add something. And if you don't really treat it the right way, you can make the problem worse. A problem today in the raw food community, whenever somebody doesn't feel well, they go, oh, it's a detox. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it is a deficiency, and you could be making the problem worse by going on a fast. So you have to really know what it is, but if it is a deficiency, the first thing you want to make sure is, do I have a problem assimilating the nutrients from foods? So the first thing you want to do is try to deal with it on a food level. I need to eat foods that have more of this nutrient in it. And if that's working, great. But if that's not working, now I need to have whole foods in a supplement form. And if that's working, great. If not, well, now I might need to get supplements in a different way. Or I might need to get, even if I'm really dangerously low, I might even need synthetic supplements. Even though they're not the ideal for the body. But if that's going to save me, then that's what's needed. So we have to look at the individual situation, no matter what it is. But I'm telling you, I would be very surprised, based on my experience, if somebody, not only on a raw vegan diet, but anyone, got a good extensive amount of blood work and it was perfect. But you can say most raw vegans will claim that they're perfect and they're doing great. They might feel great, I felt great, but how do we truly know? Get a good extensive amount of tests, and that's how we would know it.
And the last one is chocolate. You mentioned chocolate a couple of times. Raw cacao, what's your view?
Crackcow is not a health. Crackcow is one of the most addictive, unhealthy substances for the human body. It has something that they call theobromine, which is a toxic drug to the human body, which has a similar effect of caffeine on the body. In a raw state, is even more active. No animal in nature would eat a cacao bean. What they do is they eat the fruit and they spit out the cacao bean. It's a very toxic substance. I would never recommend anyone put it in their body. Most of the raw leaders in the world, I have a video on my website about this, the majority of the raw food leaders have spoken out against it. The people that know what they're talking about and have science to back it up have said it's toxic, it shouldn't be in the body. And then Gabriel Cousin, one person that says if somebody did 7 beans or less, because of the antioxidants, they can show a slight benefit from it, but if it's mixed with any other ingredients or any of these sweeteners or any of these snacks, it's one of the most toxic substances to the body. That comes directly from him. Brian Clement, who has more knowledge and information for over 50 years from the Hippocrates Health Institute, will say it's one of those substances that definitely should not be anywhere near the human body. And Dr. Fred Bishy is a high advocate that nobody should be eating it. It's very toxic and bad. And Dr. Talenton, another doctor, raw food doctor in the United States, Dr. Rick Dina, all these people, and when I say doctors, not all doctors are good, but these are doctors that understand nutrition and health, all recommend it not being good. Carrot pods right off the tree, which Julie sells, taste amazing in nature. Right off the tree, they taste amazing. A cacao bean tastes terrible. If you put them both next to each other, you would want the one that tastes good. You would spit out and avoid the one that tastes bad. They taste bad for a reason. They taste good for a reason. If you mix all your sugars and your junk food with the chocolate bean, it's tasting good because of all the other junk food you're mixing with it. With a carrot pod, it tastes amazing by itself. Get it from Julie. You can see what she has back there, those amazing carrot pods. But if you mix the carrot powder with the same stuff you would mix the cacao stuff, you'd get another amazing dessert. And for the majority of the time, people have been eating a raw food diet. Of all the raw food restaurants I've been in around the world, which is the majority of them, having the biggest one in the world, we use carrot powder as one of the main ingredients in our desserts. No one ever complained and everyone loved it. So for these reasons and for what we know and what we have, I would highly recommend carrot pods and carrot powder. But I would definitely recommend that over the cacao bean. Great question. I've interviewed people. The question was, how many 100% raw vegans have I met who've been doing it long term? I have interviewed a lot of people in my books who have been eating a raw diet for a very long time, raw vegan diet a very long time. I could tell you that There are several people that believe in their own mind they are 100% raw vegan. Technically, nobody's 100% raw. At some point in their path, either knowingly or unknowingly, they've had some cooked food. Most cashews today are cooked. A lot of things out there are cooked even though they're labeled raw, like tahini and things like that. So knowingly or unknowingly, no one's going to be 100% raw. As for their own admission and knowledge, I would say if we gave everyone who says they're 100% raw food diet a lie detector test, we'd be surprised with the results. As for a vegan diet, again, I would say the same thing. I know, and I won't say names here, but I know that there are people that are very bright and smart, that are big promoters of the raw food diet, who, unlike me, because I don't care if I lose my so-called following or whatever, I want to get the truth out. I know there are raw food leaders out there that consume raw milk and raw cheeses and some even raw eggs that they won't admit it because they don't want to lose their so-called vegan groups. But I know, there are very few that...
So how many are thriving?
Huh?
How many are thriving? One vegan and 100% raw over 10 years.
It determines what we would call thriving, but like I said, there's not many out there, and some might claim they are. I could say the closest person that would be thriving, well, probably, to be honest, the only person that I would consider thriving is Dr. Fred Vishy. Is Dr. Fred Vishy. And he's a unique person in himself because he does more cleansing than most people would ever do in his life. Or, and if you know him, most people wouldn't do some of the things he's done in terms of how little he eats, that has helped him be successful, I believe. But, he's probably the only one I know who's been doing it long term. A good friend of mine, when I wrote this book, Morris Kruk, who was from South Africa and wrote a lot of books on the raw vegan diet, him and several other people passed away. Yeah, they passed away. But most of the raw fooders go back to cooked food eventually, at least in a little bit amount. Like Paul Braggs went back to some meat. They all go back to either cooked food or meat for a very valid reason. There's nothing wrong with cooked food and meat if you're not doing it like from the factory farm or the drugged up thing. It's what you do in the majority. If the majority of your diet is fruits and vegetables, you can get away with a lot of different things and a lot of other things and be fine. But if you want to be on a 100% raw vegan diet, you have to work harder. But you can make anything's possible. But my question is, why be on that 100% raw vegan diet if you don't need to? Now, some people might say something about somebody like myself, that if I had a cooked meal once a month or whatever, it's crazy the way people are. They make a religion out of their diet, and it's creating. So we have to be careful, and we have to be real, and that's just the way it is. And I know some of you might not like to hear the things I said, and I'm not saying never touch chocolate for the rest of your life, but I'm saying why not, if you have the choice between carob and chocolate, why not get the carob? The reason why is because there's an addictive substance in the chocolate that would make people want the chocolate more. But if you've seen what I've seen and know my history with chocolate, you would say, I'm not going near that stuff because it's very toxic to the human body. But, you have carob available to you, great, really good carob available. But still, if you're doing chocolate, a couple of beans a month, it's not going to be bad for you. But if you're doing, like some people are suggesting, pounds a day, that's really toxic and you're heading for destruction.
What's it do?
Well, it speeds up the heart rate. It makes the body very acidic. Everything that caffeine would do, it enhances the same way. And I've had people, it's a very addictive, toxic substance. I've had people literally come into my talk shaking, pleading with me to help them get off of it because it's so toxic and bad.
It burns your adrenals out too.
It burns your adrenals out, exactly. Actually, I have on my website, a lot of information about this and on my web show. But the history of the chocolate, Jeremy Safran, who is a raw food promoter, who was the one that told the raw food community about raw chocolate, told all the raw food leaders about chocolate, and was a big promoter of it. But then he found out how toxic it truly was. So he told all the raw fooders that he told it was good, how bad it was, and the majority of them stopped selling it. But one or two said, "Oh, really? I'm going to sell it more," and they went ahead and did that. And for me, it shows of a lack of integrity. But for other people, that's their own issue. But without naming names, I will say that there are people, great friends of mine, that sell chocolate, agave nectar, and some other things, and truly in their heart they believe and feel that it's good and they're helping people, and they have nothing but the highest integrity. And I shouldn't say we should look at everyone doing these things and saying that, but I do know also there are people that know this isn't the ideal foods, but they continue to promote it. So we have to really just discern of what we do and where we do it and so on.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life.